Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Replayer Podcast. I'm Pagan, your host this week, and joining me is my lovely co-host Dan Morris.
Hello.
And joining us this week is the lovely Bethany. Hello, Bethany.
Hi.
Hi. So nice to have you here. I would introduce you like with your full name, but then I was like, I don't know about this this whole GDPR thing. So Bethany's fine, but you can introduce yourself to whatever you want.
Bethany's fine.
Bethany's fine.
Bethany's good.
Also,
Yep.
we'll need your social security number and your bank account.
And my credit card number.
That's crucial to when you come on the Retro Replayer
Right.
podcast. We want to get all your bank details.
You
Just
must
make sure you're
provide
secure.
all critical information.
Yeah,
Yes.
just in case. What's the answer to your security questions?
Sure. No problem. Sure.
So I don't know. Have you listened to the show before, Bethany?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I have. I've listened to almost every episode.
Wow.
You know why? It's because I can listen to it while I'm doing other things.
Oh.
So like I listen to it while I'm working. I listen to it, it's just always, So I appreciate that it's more audio as opposed to something that I have to like sit and like watch because that can be like really distracting. So
Yeah.
it's real easy to just pop my earbuds in and just listen to it.
Especially for so
beauty of a
long, too.
podcast.
Yeah, beauty of a podcast.
Right, the beauty of a podcast. Yeah.
Just listen while you work. Do-do-do-do-do-do.
It's actually why I'm falling behind on the podcast that I listen to because I don't work like I used to. So like
Same.
back in the day, I would binge through endless amounts of podcasts throughout the day. And now because my situation's changed, I only catch up on my podcast when I go to the gym usually.
Mhm.
And now because we're all trapped at home, I haven't been able to go to the gym and I don't listen to my podcast unless I happen to be like, oh, why don't I try and listen to that for
Yeah.
a little bit?
I am like that too. Since I stopped working in a hotel, which I had an hour commute to, both ways, I stopped listening. So that was December. So I'm that far back on all of my podcasts because I just don't have the travel time to do it anymore, and I don't get up at like 7 o'clock in the morning to just be like, yeah, I'm just gonna listen to a podcast while I get ready because you can't. I don't have wireless earphones, so I can't. I should probably get that. But we usually start the podcast off with a little kind of get to know you section, Bethany, and we just kind of wanted to know, how did you find the Retro Replay community, or how did you find the Retro Replay YouTube channel?
It's so crazy. So I'm obsessed with this game franchise. You might have heard of it, Metal Gear Solid. So
Sure.
I
I was not
love-
expecting you to say Metal Gear Solid. But
Metal Gear Solid. Yeah. So there's a specific character on Metal Gear Solid, Revolver Ocelot, and so when Metal Gear Solid 5 came out, Robert and I literally we stayed up all night. We had the countdown going. We were like, oh my gosh, it's download. We can almost play it because you could play it at like midnight, right? And Revolver Ocelot, he's in Metal Gear Solid 5. I just loved him. And I was like, who is doing his voice? And I had to look up who was doing his voice. And I was like, oh, it's this guy named, it's Troy Baker. So it was like kind of the first time I had ever looked up like who voice actors in video games were. And I was like, oh, I wonder what else he does. And then I discovered that he does like, all kinds of other cool stuff. And then I was like, oh, he's got a YouTube channel. So I watched like all of level 1. And then I was like, oh, wow, this is really, really cool. And of course, I know who Nolan North is from Uncharted. And so I was just like fascinated with it. But it all started because of Ocelot, who I love. And I love him so much that I used to work at this software company, and I had this little electronic pen that I would use to take meeting minutes. And I named it Ocelot. So every morning when I would start my computer, it would say, Ocelot is now online. I'm just like, oh, that's so cool. Ocelot's online. I don't know. I'm a little obsessed with Metal Gear Solid.
This is so unexpected.
So
I love that. This is the most different.
Yeah, why?
It's just it's the most
it's very
unexpected
different.
reason. Yeah, like it's completely. It was like when was it Kevin? When it was like Kevin was like, "Oh, I discovered their podcast." I was like, "What?" Like it's just the most unexpected reason
He
that
heard the
you followed.
podcast
Yeah,
first.
for the so strange. So Metal Gear Solid.
Ocelot. Yeah. So, Snake is an amazing character. Obviously, if you've kind of been with the franchise from like the very beginning, in this is just my opinion, and it's a very unpopular opinion. But for me, playing the Metal Gear Solid, especially 3 and 4, way more emotional for me than The Last of Us. The Last of Us is great. It's great. It's very emotional. But I was literally bawling when there were like certain things that were happening in Metal Gear Solid 3 and 4. There are some incredible scenes in that game, and I was just like have so much emotional attachment to Snake, Liquid Snake, Solid Snake, Old Snake. Yeah.
I very much respect everything you're saying right now, but I'm dying. You said you've listened to pretty much all of the podcasts so far.
Oh, here we go.
Almost all of them.
The fact that we had a segment called Unpopular Opinion.
We did.
With this music from Metal
Gear.
You did? It was
Yeah.
the sound effect. It was the phone call sound, and it was me doing my impression of Solid
This is your
Snake.
chance to edit that in. Edit it.
Oh, please edit that in.
Have to.
I'm literally gonna write that down. I'm literally writing that down right now on my
in the first
notepad.
few,
I'm writing it down.
In the first few months of the show,
Yeah.
we were trying to do a segment called Unpopular Opinion, and we had a soundbite for it that I made of the Metal Gear codec, like calling, like
right,
and then it was me going Unpopular Opinion.
Unpopular Opinion.
Otacon. Yeah. You were Otacon.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Otacon. Snake.
Super nerdy. Yes, that's kind of how we started like the show and everything.
Oh
We
God, I'm
wanted
gonna
people to
cry.
join
That's
in on that.
amazing.
Yeah. So I was so happy that happened.
Nice.
When you said that, I
That's
was like, oh
amazing.
my God, Dad can edit this in. I'm so excited.
Unpopular opinion.
So
People are gonna
throwback,
hate me. I'm
real
gonna get so much
throwback.
hate mail.
No, gosh, no, not at all. Hey, you're entitled to your opinion, even if it is unpopular. Okay, you're entitled to it. It's fine.
That's the beauty of an unpopular opinion.
That's right.
Yeah, that's
exactly it. People can contest it if they want to.
Just so you know, I have had the unpopular opinion of every person on this show from the beginning.
All the time. Maybe
Yes.
every episode.
Yep. Nearly.
Yep. Nearly. For like 3. You need to get that whiteboard set up. That's awesome. I'm so excited that so there has been other people that have found it through a franchise that either Nolan or Troy has done. I was just not expecting you to say Metal Gear. I
was so expecting either The Last of Us or Uncharted.
Yeah, right? Or something else
Nope.
like Far
Sorry,
Cry or Batman or something. And that is
No.
well, there you go. There you go, folks.
No, I'm a big boss girl.
You're a big boss girl.
big boss. I'm all about big boss.
Ah,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah.
That is so cool. That's really, really cool to hear. I have actually not played any of the Metal Gears.
I was to say, Pagan's not going to know at all what you're talking about.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you were like,
Honestly,
like 3 and 4 were more emotional to you than The Last of Us. And I'm like, girl, step back. What are you talking about? Like, The Last of Us is amazing. But I have never played it, so to be fair, I can't actually say anything.
In Metal Gear Solid 4, that scene in the end where Snake is like dying and crawling down the tunnel,
and the
like
song.
that was like,
yeah, I know. And I was like bawling while I was playing because he's literally like he starts out walking and then slowly as he's dying, he's just eventually just trying to get to the end, and that fucking song that play. I mean, it's like so the beauty of Metal Gear Solid when they have these incredibly emotional scenes is they have this haunting music underscoring it, and it is so haunting and it's so heart-wrenching and emotional that it's so, at least for me, it's so impactful because it's like, you know, I remember when he was just, you know, like very boxy and made of, you know, polygons. Like, you know,
highly pixelated.
like
when
old
he
school.
spoke with his jaw, like,
Yeah, right. You know, and it's just like watching him, like he's dying in front of your eyes, and it's just like, oh my God, I was like bawling while I was playing it. Like, I can't watch this, and you still have to control the character, and you're like, just go, please, hurry. You know,
It's really
It's
heartbreaking. I think the haunting music thing just reminds me of Death Stranding.
I was
Because
say it. I know you're gonna say Death Stranding.
But the thing is, like, I've never played Metal Gear Solid, but I have seen clips and I have seen those haunting music scenes, and obviously in Death Stranding, you'll at certain times you'll trigger these songs, and I'm like, oh,
That's
music.
Kojima.
Like, it just makes you cry.
That's
and you're like,
Kojima.
Why are you making me cry? It's like not even relevant.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
I used to get super sad in the original Metal Gear Solid when you had to fight Sniper Wolf. And like when you had to kill her, and then it did kind of the same thing. It was this really emotional, sad moment, and like they starts playing that music. But then like the characters start going on these tangents about like why they're parts of mercenaries and military factions, and you're just like, huh? Like, what are you talking about? Love is on the battlefield. Like,
right.
even David Hayter said that he doesn't know what any of that meant.
Yeah. Oh God, I love David Hayter. Love David Hayter. I was heartbroken when he was replaced with Kiefer Sutherland, although I thought Kiefer Sutherland did a good job. So like in Ground Zeroes, we were first introduced to Kiefer Sutherland, and I was just, it was hard to accept him as like, oh, by the way, guys, this is Snake now. I'm like, I don't know if that's really, is it though?
Did he continue? Like, did Kiefer Sutherland take over and then just finish the series, or did they come back to David Hayter? No,
they never went back to David Hayter. So he's Ground Zeroes and Metal Gear Solid 5. Excuse me. Yeah, it's Kiefer Sutherland now. Yeah. Not that he wasn't, great, but
I mean,
he's no David Hayter.
I think Dan will correct me if I'm wrong. I think we talked about this before, and David Hayter didn't know until it was announced in public that Kiefer Sutherland was going to be Metal Gear, or that he was going to be Snake. So
I believe
nobody told David.
I went to that retro gaming convention a few months back, and I met David Hayter, and he did a panel, and one of the first questions he got asked was, what happened when you found out that you weren't going to be Metal Gear Solid 5? And he goes, well, first of all, I didn't know until they announced that it was going to be Kiefer.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of, he explained too that he said something about like, no, he heard the game was announced. That's right. I'm misremembering. He heard the game was announced. So he sat down with his agent and he goes, all right, let's go over the details for Metal Gear Solid 5. And his agent was like, didn't you hear? It's not you. And he was like, what do you mean it's not me? Like,
God.
I'm Snake. I have to be in the game. And they were like, no, they're going with Kiefer Sutherland.
Oh my God. Yeah, because I think he was at Ireland Comic Con about 2 years ago, and he said something like somebody else had asked that as well, and they were like, so did anybody tell you like what's going on? Like, how did you feel and all this? And he was like, look, it is what it is. It's an industry like that. Like, people can just be in one day and out the next. And he's like, but the way I perceived it was, he was like, I didn't know until they announced in public in the press that Kiefer Sutherland was rumored to be or confirmed to be Snake. And he was like, oh. Like, well, I guess I'm not, because I think he heard the game was announced. This is how I picked it up, was that he heard the game was announced and was waiting for the call to be like, hey, here's your details. And then like someone was like, yeah, it's Kiefer Sutherland in the paper. And he was like, oh. Well, okay then.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. After the man's been playing Solid Snake for 15 years.
Yes. But look, I mean, it's, a new director or whatever. They just want to go in a different direction. They want to try something else. Hey, look, it's the industry it is, hey? Fickle industry. Fickle industry, folks. And we all want to be in it. What the fuck is wrong with us?
Crazy.
We crazy. So, okay, so we go on to a kind of a questionnaire for guests. I feel like you've already answered quite a few of these questions, but I'm going to ask you anyway.
I forgot we hadn't started the question.
I'm ready.
No. Do you consider yourself a gamer?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hands down.
No, I just casually dove into the Metal Gear series. Like, of course.
Like, yeah.
Casually dip into Metal Gear.
Yeah. I mean, that wasn't, not my first game that I ever played by any means, but those are games that are near and dear to my heart.
What was your...
And will always be.
I mean, I think we all kind of have one of those. We all have like something like a franchise or a game that'll be like, you're here with me in my spirit, my heart. I'm gonna keep you forever.
Yes. Yes.
So I get that. The next question is, what's your preferred platform?
PS4.
I figured.
Hands down. Yep. I'm a Sony girl. Before the PS4 it was PS3. Before that it was the PS2.
Yeah, PS all the way.
Before that it was original PlayStation. Yeah. I mean, I've played on other consoles, but definitely for most of my life was total Sony girl.
What was your first console?
You're gonna make me feel so old. So
I bet I get to beat.
there was an episode where you guys were making fun of Dan because his first console was original Nintendo.
Technically, my first console was an Atari.
Atari.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, my.
Anywho. And I had a Commodore 64 at one point, too.
Did you really? On the podcast?
Oh, hi, Mom.
Cute.
Yeah, I'll tell her that you guys said hi.
Oh yeah, please do.
She's like, they're not in your house, are they? I'm like, no, Mom. you don't understand.
I'm safe.
They're not. I'm safe. We're all safe.
We're all
it's
safe.
Just it's online. Yeah. So, ColecoVision. I bet Dan has heard of ColecoVision.
I know of the ColecoVision. Brandy is a fan.
Yeah. Pagan, you might have to Google it.
Oh, what? Is this a console?
ColecoVision.
It's a console.
I'm so sorry.
It's a console. It's a console that people with gray hair used to play. So
ColecoVision. How do you spell that?
I think it's COLECO Vision.
Vision.
Oh gosh.
So
like
so sorry.
Calico.
Calico.
So old. ColecoVision. Yeah. So it was like Atari's competition. I think it came out like 6 years after Atari, maybe longer.
Okay.
It came out. I think Atari was first, and then Atari was obviously first, and then I don't remember if it was like how many years later ColecoVision
Watch
came out. But I
Console
played
Wars.
it.
You want to learn about those old consoles and what happened back in like the late
might
70s,
do.
early 80s. Super entertaining.
Yeah,
do that.
yeah. Robert and I watch a lot of documentaries about video games and consoles and stuff like that. We like to relive our childhoods. So
Especially the gaming crash of
That's cute.
1982. That's fascinating to me.
yes, the ET game. We watched an entire documentary just about the ET game, and it was freaking
Oh, right.
fascinating.
Yeah, I've seen
Really?
It
that.
was fascinating.
I've seen
Oh God,
gonna have
yes.
to look this up.
Oh, Pagan, it is so fascinating.
I've watched
There's a few
those
good
game
ones
documentaries
on like
before,
Amazon Prime.
Oh really? I don't have Amazon Prime though. I have Disney Plus now though.
Yay! Watching gargoyles.
Guys, I watched my first
Love
2
gargoyles.
episodes of The Mandalorian. I finally get what people are talking about with Baby Yoda. Oh my god. The revelation was amazing. I was like,
You time traveled.
Awesome.
Yoda.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's not Yoda, but he's so cute. So I'm like
You
super
time
happy with
traveled
that.
to like 6 months ago.
Right. So sorry, I'm super behind because we live in Ireland. It's a backwards country. They only got Disney Plus like now. But yeah, and then we did watch Gargoyles. Bethany was fucking amazing.
Yes,
was
I love
so
Goliath.
Oh.
Love Goliath. Oh my God.
The child.
Goliath
You know
is
what though?
amazing.
I will just say this:
Demona.
I know, right? We watched 2 episodes of Gargoyles so far, and then we were like, okay, well, let's just break it up. We watched 2 episodes of Mando, and then I was like, okay, X-Men's on here. Let's watch X-Men, and the quality of cartoon that X-Men is compared to Goliath is just like.
I had the exact same
subpar. I was
conversation
like,
with Brandy because we watched the
Gargoyles.
X-Men and Gargoyles too.
Right.
Like, wow, the animation in Gargoyles is so much better than
So
X-Men.
good, but like just even the quality of writing, the story, like there's
Oh yeah, the dialogue,
depth and like
all
oh
the stories, like the storytelling in Gargoyles is so much higher than
Yeah.
X-Men.
like,
And X-Men has a lot of
really
like
dropped
cycle
down. I was
animation of like characters just kind of like repeating the same motion.
Yeah.
Like, what is?
Yeah, and it was like, wow, is Gargoyles actually a kids show? Because there was some,
Yes.
It's dark.
there's like some
Yes.
heavy dark
stuff
shit
in
that
there.
happens on
Yeah.
that show. You know, and like, oh, is Xanatos bad guy? Is he a good guy? Sometimes he helps
Yes.
them. Sometimes he
See,
works
now
against
the real
them.
kicker for me too is
You
that
know.
Goliath is voiced by Keith David.
I
And
know.
hearing his voice, all I think is Spawn
Spawn
because he did the voice of Spawn.
In
Todd McFarlane's Spawn, the animated series on HBO.
Oh, I didn't see that.
It's a very graphic,
Sorry.
violent cartoon.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. In other words.
Yeah.
I have seen.
If you,
I don't know if
you
guys
like
could,
your.
I will have to look it up, Bethany. I don't know. I've never seen it. I'm not sure, but I get this image of Keith David, and I can't remember what movie or TV series or anything like this is from. So I don't know if you can help me, but I feel like he's in a purple suit, and he's quite flamboyant, and he's hitting on someone. He's hitting on a character, and like. I can't remember who it is and what show it was from, but I'm so sure it is him. And I'm like, that's where I know him from, but what is that in? I don't know.
It sounds really familiar too.
Right? He's like,
it does
in a
sound
purple
really
suit
familiar.
or whatever, and he's like,
We need to
I'm
IMDb
like,
that.
Like, I was like, oh,
I don't have my
really
I don't have my laptop in
I
here.
know.
Or I
I'll
would
look it up later.
IMDb it. Yeah.
Someone's
yeah.
probably screaming at their radio or their YouTube channel, being like, "It's this," and I'm like, I
If you
can't
know
hear you.
at us, email us at the
Yes.
Replayer Podcast.
Pop it in the
Message us on
freaking
Twitter. Somebody
comments.
tell us.
Put it in the comments.
Please.
Like,
Please tell us. Yeah.
yeah,
Wow.
because that would drive me crazy.
I think that is a thing that exists. It might have been if he's wearing a purple suit.
I feel like it's something purple. He's wearing. I feel like it's purple. I don't know. I could be so wrong.
It
Someone's
might have
like,
been Harlem Nights.
Maybe.
I'm gonna write that down too. I'm gonna write it down right now.
I love this. I love this taking notes.
'Cause-
I think you
I gotta
can
look
skip
that up.
question number
I
3,
can
right?
definitely skip number 3 because your favorite game.
What's
is
number 3? What's question number?
Well, actually, your favorite game. What is your favorite game?
Oh.
So you have a favorite franchise, but do you have a game?
Yeah. So Metal Gear Solid's like my favorite franchise, but my favorite game is Skyrim, like old school on the PS3 Skyrim.
Oh.
I love how
My
that's
God.
old.
Yeah.
Yeah. The old school Skyrim on the PC.
The old school, yeah. No, it's just such an incredible game, and just like the replay value of that game. In fact, Robert got Skyrim in VR, and it made me want to go back to the PS3 and play my old Skyrim game. So I started doing that, and it loaded, and I was like, I don't remember what the hell I was doing, and it loaded, and I was like on this, and I'm like, I don't know where I left off or what I was doing.
What I should do
but there's
now.
a dragon. And I was like, oh, there's
always fun.
Parthenax. Okay, I think I remember what I was doing now. Like, yeah, and just the replay value of that game and the world, huge. So yeah, that's probably my favorite game.
There's a lot of people
Skyrim.
who love that game.
Yeah,
I have
and then
not
they added like all the DLC where you could like build houses and yeah, I mean it just added even more depth to the game. So I built like the maximum number of houses that you could build, and I built them in like all different ways. And I decorated them, and like like I spent so much time on that game.
Do you know of the channel? Because I've never played Skyrim, but there is. Yeah, I do have it here. Do you know Shirley Curry on YouTube?
I do not.
She is a grandmother, I believe, in her 80s that plays Skyrim and makes Skyrim YouTube videos, and she is like so badass. I want to see how many like followers she has, but yeah, she is like so bad. If you ever see it, if you do like Skyrim, like she did like that, because that's kind of how I never really got into Skyrim. I've not really played it since, but then I saw like a YouTube documentary on this, and she is just the most pure-hearted person ever, and 810,000 subscribers, and she's an 83-year-old grandmother who loves to play Skyrim. And
that is amazing.
She's just like the cutest things, and every time she opens the YouTube video, it's like, hello grandchildren, and you're like, oh my god, so cute. But this is where
That's so
kind of
cute.
like I understood, because Adam's always said it, but like I understood like people actually follow storylines that you create in Skyrim. Like you have a companion, and then you can have a wife or a partner or whatever, and you can build a house and like all this kind of stuff. And I was like, okay, well, that's really interesting. There you go. Shout out to
so
Shirley
many
Curry,
things.
who's doing
I
her
remember
own.
doing that in
On
Fable and
YouTube.
Fable 2 long before Skyrim came out.
Really?
Yeah, the Fable games. Yeah, those were.
You could also take your wife and or husband and sacrifice them to an evil god to gain extra high evil points.
Did you do
You
that?
couldn't sacrifice your kid. Yes, I did, but you couldn't sacrifice.
I never
your
did
kid,
that.
Though. It would not let you sacrifice your kid.
No, because that's a step too far, Dan.
It is a
Sacrifice your partner, sure, but children, let's not put them into harm's way. Like,
You can marry them and then like come follow me and like lead them to the temple of doom, evil, whatever it was, I forget now, and then be like, just stand here and wait. I'll be right back. And then you walk away and they like get squished and like you get a bunch of evil points.
so you
Yeah.
can. Did you just say you can marry them, as in like you can marry your children?
No, just like
Oh, thank
NPC.
God!
No,
I was like,
the-
this game
marry
is so
the
messed
other-
up. Don't play this game.
It's an adult.
You can have
It's an
children
adult.
with that NPC.
This game
Right.
is so
And then
hardcore.
they come back home and your child be like, where'd mommy go? Gone.
And then it's just awkward, like, to the farm, kids, where she's living out a very happy life. Um,
She moved to the country.
That's pretty cool. I've never played Skyrim myself, but it is a very popular game, and I can see the appeal. I can definitely see the appeal.
Yeah.
Seems like
it's,
endless
It's great.
replay value.
Yeah. I remember it used to freeze a lot. Like on the first time around that I played it, when we first got it, it would constantly
bugs.
freeze. Yeah. Because you'd be like on your horse and you'd be like packed full of inventory, and then a dragon would come and then it would start raining and like, oh my God, my game's gonna freeze
Oh my
like any
God.
second. And it would just like stop. Like, okay, I get it, just because there was just like too much shit going on.
Did you have to wait it out, or did you have to restart, or
Restart. Yeah, and I had to turn off the autosave. So like as soon as you open the menu, it will autosave and it would freeze on the menu as soon as it opened, because it was trying to autosave as you open the menu. I'm like, oh my God, I have to turn off this autosave because this is killing me. I keep having to start over. Yeah, it was very, very
it's
buggy.
really
when
buggy
it
game?
first
Oh my
came out.
God! I wouldn't
Yes,
be able to get
it was
through it. I
very
have no
buggy.
patience for stuff like that.
Yes, but it has such charm, and it has such a huge explorable world, and like if you're on a horse, you can go anywhere. Like you can just climb up a mountain on your horse. Yeah.
horses that
Just
just climb.
straight up. Yeah. I killed so many horses trying to climb mountains in that game.
It's so sad.
Don't watch me play Red Dead Redemption.
Oh my God!
Oh my gosh,
My horse threw me off a
killed
cliff
my
in Red
horse.
Dead Redemption once, and I was like, why?
Oh my God! Did you kill it out of revenge? Because I would have been like,
No, it fell
"Damn
with
horse."
me. We both fell to our death.
Oh, gosh. That's so sad. I'm so
That's
sorry.
awful.
R.I.P. horse.
Yeah.
Sorry.
He was fine. He respawned.
He was fine. He bounced back.
Just reload the game. It's all good.
So are there any games that you're currently looking forward to this year or next year that may or may not come out now due to coronavirus?
Oh God, the big C, right? Well, Ghost of Tsushima. Robert and I are super interested. Ghost of
Yes.
Tsushima.
Yes.
So I think there might be some DLC maybe for Soul Calibur and Tekken. Robert and I play a lot of fighting games together too. So I think there might be some impending DLC for those games. If you're into weapons, Soul Calibur's the way to go. If you just like, straight up hand-to-hand combat, Tekken. Or Dead or Alive is really fun.
I like Dead or Alive.
Is it Dead or Alive? The one that actually like shows you the combos in like the lower left
condoms?
corner.
Yeah.
The combos.
Dead or Alive
The
is the one where
combos.
the girls have like really big boobs and
the
they bounce.
combos.
That's the only
They,
reason
Yeah.
I
they,
like Dead
they
or
scaled
Alive.
their boobs down recently.
Oh, did
Yeah.
they?
As far as I
They
know,
made some-
any fighting game will let you turn that on and off.
Yeah.
I know Dead or Alive definitely has it though, but I thought other
Yeah.
games
Yeah.
I don't know.
But yeah, I liked that they like actually showed you the different combo moves
I know
like
the
in the
new
lower
Mortal
left
Kombat
corner
does
as you're
that
playing.
too. The new Mortal Kombat will show you combos in the top of the screen.
Maybe
Yeah.
I'm thinking of Mortal Kombat then. Yeah. But yeah, every fighting game ever
I like
created,
Dead or Alive.
Robert
I
and
like
I've played.
the grapple and parry system for Dead or Alive.
Definitely, that's the only reason I know Dead or Alive. And like when they played it on the
boob.
show, literally, yeah, because when I got that game, it was like on PlayStation 1 or whatever, PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2. And it came out, and that was the only thing I noticed about that game. Because I played Tekken, I played other games, and then it was this game, and they were just standing there. They weren't even fighting. They were just like,
Just like
and their big ass boobies would be like, and I was like, huh, why do they do that? That's really silly. And now as an adult, I'm like, oh, money.
Did you ever see the original commercial for Dead or Alive 3, I believe it was? When Dead or Alive 3 came out on the Xbox. Because Dead or Alive 3 was exclusive to Xbox for whatever reason. And there was a commercial on television where it was like these two nerdy guys like sitting on the couch like playing Dead or Alive. And the one guy was talking to the other guy. I forget exactly what the dialogue was, but it was like the guy was like, she kicks high. Like super creepy. And then it shows like Kasumi like doing the high kick and you just get the straight fan service shot. Yeah. And they're both like,
it's just so strange.
Hashtag me too, guys. Hashtag me too. I mean, come on.
Oh my God.
Very popular in Japan.
They have changed it since, but like, woof. Like, holy shit.
Yeah. We watched a documentary about the Dead or Alive series, and it was bananas.
Did you watch the Dead or Alive movies? Don't watch them.
No.
Yeah, exactly. There's movies.
Did we watch the Dead or Alive movie? We watched a movie that had Joy from My Name is Earl, and she played somebody in the movie, and it was based on a fighting game, and it might have been Dead or Alive.
There was a Tekken movie too, so.
There was a Tekken movie?
Yes. Yes.
The only movies I know of are the Mortal Kombat films, and they were like a thing that happened.
That was a thing that happened, yes. In society, that was a thing.
We still quote that film. Like, we still quote Mortal Kombat 2 all the time. Me and our friends, we always put that in the quotes somewhere. That film is just a piece of work. So Ghost of Tsushima, man. That's a good game. I'm really looking forward to that. Do we know when the release date for that is at the moment?
June 26th, I believe.
Potentially.
I believe.
If it's
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, if it's not been delayed because of this whole
Fingers crossed.
I have a pre-order, so.
Ooh.
Yeah. Oh, especially fingers crossed. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So here's an interesting one with the pre-orders and stuff like that. If you've ordered a special edition of something, like Final Fantasy or something, what's going to happen when the game comes out?
Depends on how you ordered it, I suppose.
Yeah, well, we ordered it not on online. We ordered it in store at GameStop.
It's going to sit there until you can get to it.
Yeah, I'm going to guess like it just sits there and then we all, once everything's lifted, we can just, there'll be a queue the size of Canada.
I'm sure.
In Ireland.
Yeah.
GameStop will be happy.
Yeah, I'm so sure they will. In terms of the show, Bethany, is there anything that you'd like to see the guys play?
I think it would be fun to see them like play more fighting games against each other. You know, like I would love to watch them play like Double Dragon or play like well, that's more like a side scroller, but like you know, like an original Tekken, original.
Yeah, they haven't played like Tekken. They haven't played Soul Calibur.
No.
They did play Dead or Alive, and they did play Mortal Kombat.
Yeah,
there's lots of fighting games that they could play. They haven't played Street Fighter.
Are you sure? I'm so sure they did.
I don't remember. I don't think so.
Well, I think they maybe reference it a lot, but I don't know.
I think they have referenced
it
a lot.
We suck at this as replayers. We should be like, this is the list of stars that they've actually done. I should have
a list.
I'll be like, oh, let me just check quickly.
They do have a Capcom cabinet in the background on level 3 now that like has just a bunch of Capcom games on it. But I think Street Fighter's on there, maybe.
Cute.
I know I see Final Fight and Ghouls and Ghosts on there.
If Final Fight would be good.
I think any of those side-scrolling beat-em-up games would be awesome. Streets of Rage, they did Streets of Rage.
Yeah,
but more of those.
So that would be my pick, but only because like I'm very partial to fighting games. You know, I love fighting games.
I think they have a good time on the show when they do fighting games too. When they do 2-player games.
Yeah,
seems like a good time. They both sort of are connected with the game and each other, and then, yeah, that's cool. I like that.
I think it's always fun when the two of them both kind of zone out and just kind of like, lowbrow.
Yeah. Agreed. It
Yes.
makes for good content, especially if one of them gets frustrated, or both of them get frustrated.
Shaq Fu.
Always great. Shaq Fu.
Oh God.
Ooh, that's a callback. Yes, indeed. That was a good episode. Yeah, that's a great idea. I think more fighting games, Beth. I'm with you on that.
Thanks.
Oh God, I haven't hosted in a while. Moving on
weeks.
to actually, yeah. I know. Every 2 weeks, I'm like, how do you do this again? What's the mic? How does OBS work? I don't know. I don't understand.
I feel your pain.
Look, it
That's
is
right.
what it is. It is what it is.
Yeah.
We are going to discuss, I guess, a little bit of the shows and stuff like that. The first we got this week is obviously Uncle Noli's advice, which was back at it again with Uncle Noli's advice. Some good tidbits in there. Some good knowledgeable tidbits.
Titty bits.
Titty bits. Tom's titty bits. Shout out to Tom the intern. Did you catch this week's episode of Uncle Noli's advice, Bethany?
No, I'm like a week
ago.
I think I'm at least a week behind. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But I actually really like listening to Uncle Noli's advice because I don't have to like watch it. Whereas like the actual retro replay show, I have to like watch it and listen because there's a lot of stuff going on visually.
Mm-hmm.
But like I can just listen to the advice and I don't necessarily have
True.
to be like
There's not a lot of visual.
completely,
Yeah.
you know,
things
like, oh, I
happening.
got to be watching this because I don't want to miss anything,
Yeah.
you know, and it's shorter than the episodes. So it's not like, doesn't take as much time. So.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think it's a good segment. It's a cute little segment that they're filling time with, I guess, between maybe Uncharted or something, but I think it's interesting. I like it.
I do want to say that, like, in the weeks that we've had Uncle Noli now and we've talked about it, I've been very positive in my talkings about the show, and I really enjoy it. And I have to say, I almost want to say it's becoming one of my favorite things that they've put out.
Really?
Just because it's like bite-sized bit of like the best of Nolan.
Yeah.
It's like if you took an episode of Retro Replay and cut everything out except for the nonsense that Nolan says, that's Uncle Noli. You get this little bite-sized.
Yeah.
And it's only 5 or 6 minutes long, but I'm usually I'm laughing that whole time,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it's just got a magical power to it. That's all I'm saying.
Definitely. This week, I think there were 2 moments for me that like I actually either choked or spit out my tea, because there was a good few things here. Like Grace had asked, you know, how does Troy get his hair like that? And Nolan was like, it's a wig. Or like, how do you put on your pants and shoes and socks? And he's like, that's the stupidest question I've ever got.
That was my favorite response. That's a stupid question.
I know. But I love how he was like, but I will answer it, and like went into a whole thing. It's very good. I highly recommend watching it, Bethany.
I'll get caught up. I will get caught up.
The part
Spoiler
that made
alert.
me, yeah, spoilers coming, Bethany. I'm so sorry for this.
That's fine. Spoil it. Yes, that's fine.
Good. The part that actually made me like laugh the hardest and like choke on my tea was the toxic friendship advice. So someone had asked Nolan about like, how do you know, I had cut out a toxic friendship and now they're trying to work their way back into my life and I'm not quite sure how to get away from them and they're at work or blah blah blah. And Nolan just straight up came out with advice that was like, you know what? Fart every time they come near you. Like, eat some gassy food and then just let one rip anytime that they come near you. And then he was like, if that doesn't help, if that doesn't make them go away, just full out shit yourself. Like, just let it run down your leg. And I was like, I died. It was like, if you have a skirt on, men get a kilt. Like, fucking let that shit go. And he was like, blow the mud. I laughed so hard at that.
Mud.
Blow the mud. Oh man, that was the funniest thing. And he ended it with, friends don't let friends not shit themselves. Like, and I just thought that was probably the funniest piece of advice I've ever had on that show. I think that was great. That's
And he's not wrong.
Right there. He's not wrong. That is short
That is
to
a great
drive
way to
somebody
get rid of someone.
right out of your life. People are gonna be like,
That's
fuck
phenomenal
that.
advice.
Yeah, great, so good. Any of your favorite moments, Dan, from the show this week?
That was definitely one of them.
Oh my God.
I mean, you can't really. That was definitely like one of the the hardcore, just like you're laughing, but at the same time you're like, wow, Noli, wow, like okay.
Yes, 100%. Yes, you're like, what the fuck is this show? Oh god.
And then
So
there
good.
was the other. No, I'm just misremembering again.
The other one, like
No, I was-
friend zone one.
the friend zone one.
Mhm.
Man, I'm blanking on that one.
Oh, the friend
Friend
zone
zone.
was great. So somebody was like, "How do you get out of the friend zone, Nolan?" And he was like, "Friend zone is a great place to be because you like that person and you both care for each other." And he's like, "And the only way to get out of that is just straight up pull down your pants and show them your genitals. Just give them a really good look. Doesn't matter if you're male or female. Just show them
Yeah.
your
That's gonna push
genitals."
that friend zone one way or the other.
Yeah, and he's like, "If you're still friends after that, you're definitely in there and you should bang it." Like, I was like,
Bang it.
oh my god. That was a great one too. Nolan has some solid advice. Some solid advice.
He's very wise.
He's a very wise man. Look,
He's very wise.
he's a very wise man.
In his own way, he's very wise.
In his own slightly crazy kind of way.
Disturbed away.
Disturbed way. That's a great word. Yes. Slightly disturbed way. Moving on to their actual show this week, Bethany, they played Half-Life 2. Have you ever played that game?
I have not played that game.
Me neither.
I've never played it.
Do you know
Yeah.
anything about Half-Life 2?
Do you know anything about Half-Life 2? Because I'm
Zero.
going to tell you.
I know
Half-Life
zero.
2. I don't have glasses
Let me lay
like
it
you
down
guys.
for you.
I just need to...
Now, if
Lay
you
it on
remember,
us,
Pagan,
Dan. Lay it on us.
I had actually talked about Half-Life 2 on the show not too long ago.
You did. And
I did.
I was just like, oh, cool.
And I was going to say, I wonder why they played Half-Life 2. And then I remember Half-Life Alyx just came
It's
out.
just
So
coming
that's
out.
clearly why they played Half-Life 2. Anyways,
Yes.
I had mentioned in Half-Life 2 that I had played it. And there was that part that Troy got to where the guy like knocks the can over and says, pick up the can. And Troy goes, okay. And he drops it in and they move on. I had the best time at that part because you can throw the can back at the guy and he like freaks out and starts wailing on you. And you get an achievement for it.
Oh, no way.
I was like, Troy, throw the can at him. Throw the can at him. He didn't.
I didn't. Oh. I've never played this game. I don't know anything about this game.
But it's
feel
one of the
like-
best
yeah.
games ever.
I feel
They
like I'm
claim.
going to describe it, but look, people probably know what this is because they said that it's basically the base for all games ever since. Which actually I can kind of see. I get that. Anyway, I'll read it.
Do it.
Just gotta get my glasses. Half-Life 2 is a 2004 first-person shooter game developed and published by Valve. Like the original
You
Half-Life.
don't know what Valve is?
No. What else do they do?
Well, they made Half-Life for one.
Oh, yeah,
Which
that
is-
game that I've never played or heard of since
They
today.
also own. Hold on. They own Steam.
Oh, yeah.
Valve, Steam. It's like a thing together. Valve and
The color
Steam.
of my hair
Mechanical
should
things.
signify that I don't know anything. All right.
Educate yourself, Pagan.
I probably should.
All right, continue with a life lesson.
excuse
I
me.
mean,
Half-Life 2 is a 2004 first-person shooter game developed and published by Valve, who also owns Steam. Like the original Half-Life, it combines shooting puzzles and storytelling and adds features such as vehicles and physics-based gameplay. Ooh. Players control Gordon Freeman, who fights the alien Combine? I presume that's the name of the alien.
Combine.
Sorry. Who fights the alien Combine with allies including Resistance fighter Alex Vance, Meryl Dandridge, using weapons such as the object manipulating gravity gun. How exciting. I have never seen this thing before. Never heard of it until this week when Half-Life Alex or Alex Vance or Alex, just Alex, has come out and I was like, what's this? I don't know what this is. This is crazy. But one of the most fascinating things about that episode was that they were saying that it basically started with like an unlimited budget. And they were like, we're going to make the best computer game of all time. And we've got an unlimited budget and that's just how it's going to go. And I was like, pretty fascinated by that. What about you?
I thought you were going to say more, so I was waiting.
Yeah, I didn't want to.
No,
I can add
that's
some titty
about
bits.
it. You can add some
titty-
titty bits
I got some
Enlighten
titty
me.
bits for you. So, Half-Life, as we know, created by Valve, was created with
Who
their
owns
source
Steam?
engine that they made, which then they used the source engine to make Counter-Strike, Team Fortress,
They did
Portal,
Counter-Strike. Oh yeah, of course, Portal.
Yeah.
Nolan mentioned
Team
Portal.
Fortress.
which I was going to say, Left 4 Dead. Left 4 Dead was spawned out of the source engine. It wasn't made by Valve, but it came from the engine that was created for Half-Life.
Oh.
So I would say that my favorite thing of Half-Life is the fact that we have Portal now from it, because Portal's awesome. Play Portal.
We should. I really should.
We're gonna start a Twitch channel of our Replayer Podcast Twitch channel, and play, like the Replayer Podcast plays, and we play Portal or something.
Yeah, because I basically haven't played like any of the games that they're talking about, and I was like,
I would so watch that. You'll have at least one viewer. I would.
Thank you.
That's all we need.
That one
I would
viewer.
totally watch you guys play Portal.
Awesome.
Yep. I think that'd be a
It could
fun
happen.
time.
It could happen. It was a good enough episode. They did a lot of tangents, although I feel like there was good focus on the gameplay. I felt in this
It was
episode.
pretty solid.
It was pretty solid episode, because usually it's either one or the other. There's a lot of gameplay or tangents, but this had a good mix.
It definitely had me worried that that we had the first like 10 minutes or so of gameplay. And sorry, Bethany, because you haven't seen this episode yet, but you know how the guys work.
Yeah.
We get a few minutes of gameplay, and then like there's a moment where Troy like puts the controller down and goes, "Let's have a big chat about this one thing."
Yeah.
And then you're like, "Okay, here we go." And
Yeah.
not that that's bad, but usually they don't really come back to the game so much after that. And this one, they had a nice long tangent, and then they were like, "Okay, back to Half-Life," and they actually played more Half-Life, and we got more standard chat during that time. So
Yeah.
I appreciated that.
I appreciated
Do you
it.
think it has to do with like their level of enjoyment or engagement with a particular game? Because I noticed it's like if they're a little bit more absorbed in like what they're actually playing, I feel like they're more anxious to get back to it.
Yeah. I would
As
agree.
opposed to if it's something that like they're like,
Yeah.
You could definitely tell when Nolan's engaged, and he gets very like into it, and like he doesn't want to stop playing. He wants to keep going, even when they're like trying to rap, and he's just like, let's keep playing, yeah.
yeah.
Let's play again. Let's play again.
Yeah.
Or when he keeps dying, and like Troy like, okay, and it's as if to be like, grab the controller, and Nolan be like, no, I'm just gonna try one more, okay. And one of the funniest bits in that is like, Troy was like, okay, I'm gonna like, let's do the cheat codes. All you need to do is stop moving, and like Nolan was like, okay,
He
cool.
wouldn't stop.
And he wouldn't stop moving, and he was like trying to get around, and Troy was like, okay, but I'm gonna tell you, so just stop moving. And he's like, okay, well, I just need to get up onto this thing, okay, I'm gonna stop. But like literally just couldn't stop. He was trying to get into this thing. So I feel like Nolan was definitely absorbed in the game, which is cool. I do like that.
Yeah.
I do like that.
Yeah.
I was watching the video, and it starts off kind of like really strange, and the character is brought into a room, I presume by the alien guys. Are those people the things, the aliens or whatever? And there's a really cool little reference, because I'm like, nerd. And they did a Sweeney Todd reference because of the barber's chair, and there's a whole a bunch of blood on the floor. So they cut away to Sweeney Todd, and I was like, oh, I really like musical theater. Like I was like, Sweeney Todd.
I do like Sweeney Todd. I appreciated that.
It was a good cutaway. Well done, Stephanie. Good job. There's a lot of other tangents as well. Correct me if I'm wrong, Dan. Have they played much Xbox before, or was this their first Xbox controller? Because it
I don't
seemed
know
to me
if
like
it was the first. I don't think it was the first, but they did have a tangent about consoles and Xbox specifically. And I actually was going to say I enjoyed that tangent, because then we got the little bit of like Troy's history with consoles. Then we got Nolan going hard on like the Wii. Like I played a bunch of Wii. Like really?
Which is really cool, because I think like the Wii was a really big thing when it came out, and like we had the Wii, and we got Wii Fit and everything, and his mom, Adam's mom, the actors that I hired, his mom
The
was really
actor's
interested
mom.
in, the actor's mom I was super into it and loved Wii Fit and is still into Wii Fit. So, you know, like if she's got an event coming up or something like that, she'd be like, oh, I'd love to go back and Wii Fit and everything. And now, especially with indoors and stuff like that, it's coming in really good handy. So, yeah, I was super shocked when Nolan brought that out because I didn't think I didn't actually know Nolan had any consoles. I'm sure he was gifted some, but I just didn't think he was ever like actively playing.
Or he had them for the boys.
Oh yeah, true.
And he never really
played them.
messed with them much before.
But that was a kind of cool little cutaway, a tidbit.
I found it interesting where Troy was talking about his experience with the Xbox, where he went hard on Xbox 360. He was playing Call of Duty. He was playing Grand Theft Auto on it. And then he mentioned something about a server crash on the Xbox, and that's why he switched to PlayStation.
Pretty sure that was
And
PlayStation,
I'm like, PlayStation had a data hack.
yes.
PlayStation Network got hacked back in like 2010, 2011. So like everyone's PlayStation Network got compromised.
Yeah.
As far as a server issue on the Xbox, though, I am not aware of that, or I don't remember it being super severe to the point where people are like, I can't play my games like at all for extended periods of time. So
I also was the same. When he mentioned that, I was like, is he talking about... I was like, maybe he's getting confused with the PlayStation hack, because I remember when PlayStation was hacked.
Yeah, the network went down.
Network went down for a good while.
Yeah.
And then
that was awful.
You had to recreate you had to recreate your accounts and everything, but they gifted you 2 free games. So I was like, sick. So I got the Crash Bandicoot, the original 3, and Infinity. Oh dang it! What's the name of it? It's Troy Baker does the main character, and he shoots electric things and.
Infamous?
Yes, Infamous. Yes. Oh my God, what the fuck's wrong with me?
Takes place in Seattle.
Infamous.
Fun
Yes.
Second Son. It wasn't Second Son, though, was it? It would have been the old Infamous.
It would have been the original, yeah.
Yeah, probably, actually.
So, I think Second Son
he doesn't have
too
a
new.
bunch of powers.
That's right. So yeah, it was Infamous and the original Crash Bandicoot. That's how I remember that hack. Because I didn't really have any information on there that they could steal. Like, all that stuff was pretty new to me anyway. Like, my email and everything like that was relatively new. But then they gave you 2 free games, and I was like, oh, thank you.
The first time PlayStation ever gave away games before they started doing the Games Plus.
Yes, that's right. I think it was 2. Could have been 3. I don't know. Somebody's going to correct me somewhere. Pop it in the comments if you know.
Let us know.
But yeah, do you remember that Crash, Bethany?
Yes. Very well.
What games did you get?
Yeah, what did you get? Do you remember?
That was such a long time ago. I don't even remember what games I got.
See, it was a super new thing for me.
I do not remember. That might have been... I don't remember. I don't know.
I don't know.
If Robert was here, he would be able to tell me exactly what games that
you know
we
what?
got.
I think I do remember two I got. I think I got Dead Nation and Super Stardust.
Ooh. Never heard of any of
those
those games.
Really great games. I think they were both made by Housemarque.
Oh, Dead Nation? Dead Nation is fun.
Yes,
yeah.
it is.
Yeah, it's really it's one of the only, well, I guess besides like Resident Evil, but it's one of the only like zombie type games that I can play and not have nightmares.
See,
But you can play Resident Evil without getting nightmares?
Well, I was gonna say that I like,
certain
but then I was like, well, actually, you know, I like them all, but yeah. Oh no, definitely nightmares with Resident Evil.
I went through a period of like I hadn't heard of Resident Evil, and then we were like, okay, well, it's a video game, and I was like, no, I'm not gonna play them. I don't really do horror. Yeah, we've said that before. I should have that stamped on my forehead, but I just kind of didn't really know about it, and I was like, no, I don't want to play it. So we started watching. We watched the first film, and I was like, oh, okay. And I really like Mila Jovovich. I think she's great. And then I went through a phase where I watched every single Resident Evil, and I had nightmares almost every night. But I couldn't stop watching them. Yeah, but I just couldn't stop watching them, and I know they're terrible. But
the movies aren't even scary.
No, and they're awful.
I was gonna say, was it because Movies were so terrible. Is that what you?
That's why you had
Probably.
nightmares.
Oh God.
That's why you had
The
nightmares.
scripting.
You were like,
The
Mila,
lighting.
no, get out of these bad movies.
Yeah.
Stop.
I was more
No.
freaked out by Silent Hill. Any
Oh,
Resident Evil game I
gosh.
ever played.
Another
Silent
throwback.
Hill,
Remember the
I
episode
think,
of you
is.
talking about Silent Hill on the podcast?
Oh my God, man, yeah, that game I think takes the cake for
Scary.
definitely.
See, now I
God,
prefer Resident Evil to Silent Hill, but Silent Hill is definitely like uber creepy, and I've been wanting to go back and play Silent Hill 2 again because that was just an amazing game.
Godspeed, Dan. Godspeed.
I don't play them. I play all the scary games.
I got this.
Yeah.
You're dead inside.
That's the only
that's
way
a running joke.
to feel anything, Pagan.
Right. Yeah, yeah. I forgot Dan is
terrifying
dead
games.
inside.
Dan is dead
so
inside.
he
I have an
can-
imaginary fiance. This is the running jokes with their podcast at the moment.
Yep. Yeah, I like it. I
The
like it.
only thing.
I'm also 63.
Yes, you're also a very old man. I hadn't ever really heard of Silent Hill, and the only kind of things I heard from Silent Hill was the Pyramid Head. Am I right to say that? And also
yes.
the nurses. And I would see
Yes.
that. I would see that cosplayed, and I was like, "Oh heck no! No, nuh-uh, nope, absolutely not." And then PT
Yeah,
came out.
terrifying. Oh God.
And that was actually something I did play. The full thing.
You
all the-
played it?
I did. I almost died multiple
I'm
occasions.
so proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. I was proud of me too. Covered in sweat, nightmares, and everything. And I was like, I don't want to do this. But the first loop was fucking great. First loop, I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And then you get to the end of the corridor, you're like, oh, it's just a
Same
loop.
thing.
Oh, and I was like, yeah, but there's like a lot of loops and you have to go through them all. I was like, okay. And it wasn't until I think whatever loop it was, fourth, fifth loop or whatever, and it's the radio, and the radio tells you to turn around, and I was like, no,
You're like, nope.
absolutely not, no,
not
no
doing
fucking
that.
way. And then after that moment, anytime you turn around, that thing will come at you. So I was like, don't turn around, don't turn around, don't turn around. Oh no, oh no, oh no.
So scary.
Oh my God, that was so
so
scary. And of course, that then was revealed to be like, that was going to potentially be Silent Hill. So that was kind of like, that's my history with like that scary genre. I don't know anything about it until then.
Yeah. Did you play Until Dawn? Probably not.
I did.
Oh, you did play Until Dawn.
I-
Okay,
I
so
play
there
Until
is
Dawn all the time.
Yeah, I played.
there is this DLC that with Until Dawn.
Oh,
Are you gonna talk about Rush of Blood because she talks about Rush of Blood constantly?
I love Rush
Oh,
of
do
Blood.
you?
It's not a DLC though. That's actually a VR game. But yes, I do because it's awesome. Okay.
Yes, Rush of Blood is it's so good.
So good.
I really want to see Nolan play Rush of Blood.
Me too.
Go back to VR.
That is I think that would be so bonkers to watch him.
Right, Drew? At least you got two now.
Rush of Blood, if they would ever, have like
Like you're
VR.
like looking into Drew's soul.
Drew. Listen, Rush of Blood.
Yeah.
Do it to Nolan. Don't tell him what it
Yeah.
is. Just,
Yeah,
put him
yeah.
in a seat, pop the thing on,
Nolan,
and let it go.
it's just a roller coaster ride. There's
Let
no
it go.
clowns.
No, don't tell him that
Yeah.
because he's gonna freak out that it's a roller
No,
coaster
no,
ride.
he's gonna say there's no clowns.
Just say that
There's
it's
no
a
clowns.
train. Just say that it's a
You
train.
do go through a slaughterhouse at one point.
Don't mention any of this.
Slaughterhouse.
Drew, turn it off.
Don't tell him about the slaughterhouse.
Don't tell him. Don't tell him anything. No, I think like
Yeah.
that would be super cool to see them play. I would love to see them do that for like a Halloween special or something.
Please
Yeah.
play Evil Within. Just go do yourself a favor and play Evil Within. I know you played the beginning of Evil Within and stopped there.
Yeah, of course I stopped there. Are you crazy? You play that game. Heck no. Heck no. Wow, we went on a horror tangent. That was
We always go on a whole
Strange.
tangent.
Sorry. I feel like that
That's
was
pretty
my fault.
normal
Sorry,
now.
guys.
it is.
Feel free to leave me on the cutting room floor. Like it's
just gonna
fine.
chop
Never. Never. It was
I'm used
no.
to it.
No.
It's
Oh
fine.
my gosh. No, you own
I get
that
cut out
show.
so much of
You
our
own
show.
that show. What are you talking about? You're the star.
I just I get nervous and I can't stop talking. So you gotta just
Speaking of which,
shut me down.
Bethany here
guys.
has her own show.
Shut me down. Oh yes, yes. Well,
Tell us a little
it's
bit
not
about
my
your
own show. I'm a
Your co-host.
According to Robert, I'm just a recurring guest, but
You are co-host,
I guess
if
I'm the
anything,
co-host.
Robert.
Co-host.
You're
So my
listening
husband
to
and I have a web show called The What Else Show, and we just talk about random shit. And it's just two nerds talking about random stuff. Sometimes we do restaurant reviews, like locally. Sometimes we talk about pop culture. Sometimes we talk about. We do a ton of movie reviews. We love movies. So yeah, just random
Did you see
shit.
Sonic?
No, did not see Sonic because we were planning to go see Sonic,
Damn
and
it.
then the
COVID.
world fell apart.
Right.
So
I'm still the
things-
only person
things
that's
kind of
been on the
started going
show
south.
that has seen Sonic, and Sonic was amazing. And I want somebody to talk to.
Aw. Oh yeah, I didn't see it either. But you know what? It might come out
Yeah.
on something. Who knows?
Hey, now movies are just
Yeah,
coming
it's
straight
got-
into Amazon rather
Yes.
than the theaters
That's
because
it.
of
That's
Yes.
COVID.
exactly it. Because of the self-isolation.
Trolls 2 and Mulan is coming, and there's a few other ones that are coming. So
Mulan
yeah,
looks so good.
hopefully there's more coming to stream. 'Cause,
Mhm.
yeah, not being able to go to the movies really has put a damper on our lives
Yeah.
because we go to movies like 3 times a week. We're
I'm glad you
constantly
said
at the
lives
movies.
and not your relationship.
Oh no. It's like, oh, we can't go to the movies. Like when Regal was like, we're shutting down. We're like, no.
Oh no.
That was like the one thing. Yeah. So
Yeah,
it really
sucky.
sucks. We love movies, so yeah. I'm looking forward to watching Sonic. I really want to watch it. I've heard from multiple people that it was really good. It looks really fun, so I'm really excited.
I'm the same.
see
I've
it.
heard a lot of good things. Surprisingly, I've heard a lot of good things, and I would like to go see it.
It
Dan,
was a very fun movie.
yeah, Dan's got nothing but good
For
things to say.
sure.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I'm kind of tough. I'm a tough I'm
You're
kind
critic.
of Robert and I are kind of a tough crowd. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, we've had some very unpopular opinions about very popular movies, and so we get a lot of flack for some of our movie reviews. People are like, how could you not like that movie? We're like, it was awful. So we're pretty brutally honest when it comes to movies.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
Dan, I would be very, very interested in discussing Sonic with you once I get a chance to watch it.
Perfect. Yeah, I would also like to do that, but I think your critique is valid. Your opinions are good. I
Have
really
you
like
ever had an
opinions.
episode of your show where you just listed all of your pops? Like, welcome to
Yeah.
the What Else Show. Here we have Pop.
Your
Garcia, and we
background
have
for
Pop.
your show, by the way, is so like it's just.
Yeah, it's
Oh
yeah,
wow!
that's
look
the
at
set.
The whole
Oh
set.
my god, that's your set.
That's the set.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think it would take hours for us to list all of our pops.
I'm
we've
really
also
digging the TIE
got
Fighter.
a lot of
Typewriter?
we have a ton of
TIE
Star
Fighter.
Wars
Oh, the
stuff.
TIE Fighter. I was like, where's the typewriter?
Yeah.
Yes, I can see the TIE
And,
Fighter. That's cool.
Tons of like nerd stuff. We love our collection. We joke that we're hoarders. And so we have like these little arguments with ourselves like we're not hoarders. I'm like, well, wait, are we
Kinda.
hoarders? I don't know, guys. You
No,
tell
you're
me, are we
collectors.
hoarders?
You're collectors. There's a difference.
We're collectors.
There's a
We're
difference.
There is a
purveyors
difference.
of pop culture
I am a
relic.
collector, not
Yes.
a hoarder.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Exactly.
100%.
Oh my god, that's what a hoarder would say.
You're right. Oh no.
I know.
When she's like
oh my god.
waist high in
terrible.
like pop figures, she's like, I'm still collecting. It's not hoarding. It's
It's a
that-
collection.
That glass shatter moment, like.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Someone tries to get into the house. And they
I don't
get
have a
there, go through
problem.
The door, be like, I don't have a problem. Oh, my
I
pop
don't have a
figures are
problem.
here to keep me company. I don't need to see
Yes,
protect me.
exactly. These bring me joy.
Yes.
I'm like, oh god.
Yes,
Do
these
they?
bring me joy. The Marie Kondo method.
Precious.
She's like, throw everything else out of
My
your house.
precious. It does
Right,
not.
right. Just stroke them and hug them. I do hug Chewbacca.
Aw.
So there's a Chewbacca
Oh, there he
hanging
is.
out
Aw,
on
cute.
top. He's pretty big. He's a pretty big
we have
guy.
the
He's
same
very
Chewbacca.
snuggly.
Aw,
He's
that's
very
nice.
snuggly. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite item that's in your background?
I do. She's way up. I don't know if you can see her.
What'd you
Way
get
up
in
on
the-
top.
not the
She's
Hello
a giant
Kitty.
Hello Kitty.
Oh,
She's huge.
Hello Kitty.
She is giant Hello Kitty. Yeah. Yeah, I think she's my favorite. I have like kind of an emotional attachment to her because my mother-in-law got her for me for my 40th birthday.
Oh.
So she's like very, very special to me because it's like that was like a landmark birthday.
Aw.
So that was my 40th birthday, Hello Kitty. So I love her to pieces.
That's so cute.
So she's very special. Yeah, and she has a little tiara.
Aw.
Mom
I
stuck a
can see
tiara
that.
on
I
her.
see
Like
it.
she has a tiara. So yeah.
That is cute. Does Robert have a favorite back there too?
I think his is probably, I don't know if you can see him from here. He's got a giant Ragnarok Hulk with the Thor wearing the armor that he wears in Thor Ragnarok.
Oh, cool.
So
none of
yeah,
the pop figures. Like
it's the big giant,
right.
yeah, the giant Hulk. And probably he's got two different Doctor Strange pops. And the Hulk and Doctor Strange are like his two absolute favorites. So I think those are his.
So a big Marvel
those
fan,
are his
huh?
babies. Oh yeah. Yep, we both are. Marvel and Star Wars, I think,
another one for
is what
you,
makes our
Ben.
relationship go round.
We gotta have like Marvel versus DC
Marvel and
and
Star-
like PlayStation versus Xbox. Just like start marking them all.
Well, I can tell you right now, I
like
know
DC
Marvel's gonna win.
also.
Yeah, Dan
So-
wins all the time.
I've got some DC pops too, It's just like, but the MCU, is a lot different than
Sure.
the DC
Universe,
movies.
the
But I like the
knowledge, yeah.
DC comics and I like Marvel comics.
Mm-hmm.
So the comics is what kind of unites the universes for me because I like comics.
Yeah.
So-
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Nerd. Nerd.
Nerd.
Dan, did you want to discuss some news this week in relation to Sony?
Yeah, actually, this kind of throws back to the fact that we were talking to PT not too long ago. I don't remember if we mentioned on the show before, but there are rumors on the interwebs that Sony is looking to acquire a lot of Konami's IPs to include Silent Hills. So Sony might be looking to possibly acquire the license for Silent Hill and bring back Hideo Kojima to make a new Silent Hill game. They also were talking about other IPs such as Castlevania and Metal Gear.
That's right.
So Sony might acquire the rights to those franchises, which would be pretty awesome, I have to say. Like, that would be putting them at a pretty good point going forward with the PS5.
Yeah.
And especially since Konami just kind of like dropped off as a developer.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to see like Sony pick up that mantle. Even though I'm more of an Xbox fan, I will still clearly buy those games for my PlayStation, just like I do with other exclusives for the PlayStation.
I think I heard about this news when we were talking about something the night before, and we were talking about like game remakes and stuff's been remade or whatever. And Adam was like, now if they could only remake the he's like, I'm super excited that they haven't, or they he wonders why they haven't remade the Metal Gear Solid series, right? Like the original games, because of Final Fantasy remake and the Resident Evil remakes now. He's like, now if they can only just do Metal Gear Solid, and the next day, that's when they were announced that they had like rumors to acquire Konami Productions like titles, and Adam was like, and came into like the sitting room like dancing and everything, and it was like, and I was like, what happened? What happened? Did we win something? And he's like, no, but they might be making the thing. I was like, oh, cool.
They technically remade Metal Gear Solid 1 already.
Have they?
They did, yeah.
It's called Twin Snakes. It's on the GameCube.
Oh, sorry. Yes, I do know that. Okay.
I know you knew that.
I did know that, but I didn't.
I could imagine Adam's excitement for like a full remaster of Metal Gear Solid,
yes.
especially if they do like the original trilogy of like 1, 2, and 3. That would be, I think that would be pretty cool, especially if you do it to the caliber of Resident Evil. You don't want them to lose the magic.
No, 3.
Really?
Oh, because 3 is so good.
Wouldn't you like it remastered though?
It's just like, I don't know.
A
don't know.
remaster can be messed up though too. That's the problem.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You gotta be careful with a remaster. Like, not all remasters are good.
they're on hallowed ground with the Metal Gear Solid stuff. The Castlevania stuff, because I love, like, Castlevania is a really, really awesome series of games, and we've been playing the Bloodstained games that also came out.
Bloodstained's fun.
Yeah, super, super fun. But like remaking the Castlevania games, like I'm super on board
I just
for
want
that, 'cause I
more
think that'd be cool.
Metroidvania style Castlevania games. Like, give me more of those.
Yeah.
Or I'm hoping that because Konami did release a Castlevania collection that was all the original Castlevania games before they adopted the Metroid style gameplay.
Right.
And I'm hoping that Konami is going to release another collection of all the after, like, Symphony of the Night games, like Symphony of the Night and after, because especially at the DS games, all the Castlevania games on the DS were phenomenal Castlevania games, and they sit on the DS for no one to play, and they're really hard to find now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's super exciting news that they could potentially be doing that, or, it's just rumors at the moment, but that could happen. The other news is that Ryan Reynolds recently announced or is rumored to be in talks to make a Dragon's Lair game. Is that right?
That is. I have seen the rumors. I have definitely seen those rumors.
I mean, that sounds good. I mean, I didn't know about this until they started playing it on Retro Replay. Level 1, right? Or level 2? The beginning of level 2.
It was level 2, episode 1.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, this game looks really cool. Like, I've never seen an animated thing that looks like almost like a playable movie. I'd never seen that before. So that is really cool. And I really dug the story. So I think that's a cool little announcement to drop in there, Mr. Ryan Reynolds. Thank you so much for that.
I feel like, as weird as it sounds, they could have a lot of fun with that movie if they can pull it off. I can see Bethany got some reservations.
I am so skeptical. Okay, first of all, I hate Ryan Reynolds.
Oh,
okay.
Right
off the bat, it's
my
shit.
being.
Ryan Reynolds is involved. Okay. God.
He ruined my favorite Marvel character. I am super, super
think he
upset.
ruined Deadpool?
Like, oh, absolutely.
You think he
Yeah, they
ruined
picked
Deadpool?
my
I was gonna
least
say the
favorite
guy from
actor
Blade
to
3.
play my favorite character. He's awful.
All right.
No, Ryan
okay.
Reynolds is terrible.
Okay.
So, like,
Unpopular
agree to
opinion.
disagree. Yeah.
very
Unpopular opinion.
Yep, insert your soundbite. Super unpopular opinion. He needs to stick to rom-coms. He does not belong in any action or
Super
video
harsh on
game
this.
related movie. Yes, and he was awful in
Ryan
Blade
Reynolds,
3.
if you are listening, Bethany's views do not
He's
reflect
awful.
the views of the Replayer
He's
podcast.
awful. I wish he would stop making films. Please stop making. Ryan Reynolds, if you're listening, please stop making movies. Because I can't stand.
We're gonna end the podcast right there, folks. Thank you so much for joining.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh, you're censoring me.
Not at all. Not at all. You can express your unpopular opinion.
I have, like I said, I
entitled.
love comics. I'm super, like, Deadpool's my favorite Marvel character of all time. And, but yeah, I think it's a great idea. I think they're going to be, I wish I would have seen Sonic, because I really want to see how they did Sonic, because I hear such great things about Sonic. So, like, if maybe they can, I don't know. I'm not convinced that they can pull off a good video game movie. Like, anybody can,
Okay.
I'm not convinced.
I
would
that
love
is
it.
Fair.
I would love it if they could pull it off.
I'm not, because I am a fan of Deadpool. I do like the movies, and I like Deadpool the character, and I enjoyed Deadpool the game. I haven't read a lot of the comic books though, so I'm like a back end consumer of that. What would you like to have seen different of the Deadpool movies to make it better?
I think in what I was hoping they would do, when I heard that TJ Miller was attached to the project, I was like, oh, maybe they'll do a CGI Deadpool voiced by TJ Miller, because I'm a huge fan of TJ Miller. So in my mind, like, that was kind of how I framed it, was that Deadpool would be like a CGI type character, and maybe they could do it kind of the same way the MCU did,
Now, why would he be
with
CGI?
like the Hulk, so that he could be like voiced by somebody else. I think that would have been.
That's interesting though.
I think that would have been really cool
to
see. Yeah, yeah. I just feel like,
Would you have
maybe
preferred
they
that you
should
never saw Deadpool outside of costume?
What do
He
you
was
mean,
just in
like?
costume at all times, like you never saw him with his mask off or in just like a normal person.
Oh, no, I think showing him out of costume was fine. I just felt like they did too much to it. It felt like it was just Ryan Reynolds playing Ryan Reynolds. Like
Mhm.
he's not. I just felt like they weren't true to the source material. That was my biggest gripe.
I
Was
Okay.
like they
actually,
weren't true to the source material, and so like it made me very angry. They incited my nerd rage.
oh my gosh, she makes you very angry. I actually think that it plays.
I was like, this is infuriating.
Uh,
They don't understand what they've done.
I don't completely disagree with you that you can see Ryan Reynolds in the character. But I think that is a testament to the casting and the writing because they bring out Ryan Reynolds' strengths, in my opinion, because that's how he is. He is sarcastic. He is like smart ass. He's kind of, it's the same thing. Likewise, Nolan North for Nathan Drake. Right? Nolan North is witty and funny and has these quick-witted comments and can be a smartass. From what we see, I don't know him personally, so that's just kind of my opinion. So I feel like that's a really cute fit, and the writers made it work around Nolan, and I feel like it may have been the same with Deadpool. There's a general kind of like this smart aleck thing with Deadpool, and they were like, Ryan Reynolds has that kind of personality that we can play on the strengths of that, and that's how I feel about that character. That's why I was like, okay, I agree, I like this character. I believe my fiance has also the same opinion as you and does not like Deadpool and does not like Ryan Reynolds, but in general doesn't really like Deadpool character. So there's that.
I would have made the assumption that anyone's beef with the Deadpool movies would have been that he doesn't have the like ulterior monologues in his head.
I feel like that would be hard to work into a film.
It would be, but I mean, they did do all like the fourth wall breaking and stuff. They had the
Which
parts
I
where
loved,
like
yeah.
as Deadpool like talks to himself,
Yeah.
and then like, oh, stupid, like
His inner
the only
dialogue.
thing he didn't
Yeah.
have was like the separate voices like talking to him.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. And it was really heartbreaking because the Cable and Deadpool series is some of my favorite storylines from the comics. And I was just like, awesome. So now it's like they ruined both. They ruined like, really guys, you ruined both of them.
Pretty sad. I
So
know.
I'm more like I'm trying to figure out like what of my favorite comics I would love to see as movies that aren't movies yet. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I'm
Right.
going to focus on that because this
Well,
is just way
hopefully you don't hate
frustrating.
Sonic.
Yeah, hopefully you don't hate Sonic and it's all good.
Are you a big Sonic
Here.
fan? Are you gonna instantly be like, nope, this doesn't work?
Yeah. I'm done.
I
They
don't
cast the
know.
wrong
I don't know
person.
yet. I'm trying to damper
Well, here's
my
the thing, like-
expectations so that I don't go into it with like too much of a preconceived opinion.
Sure.
Now, if you look at
I wanna
Sonic
be
as
very
a
open.
franchise, as a game from the original, like Sonic 1, there's very little story in those old games. It's just,
Right.
here's Sonic, he runs fast, and there's a
He
guy.
yes.
captured.
Yes.
So there's
It's
very
very
little
simple. It's
I
very,
think
very
they-
simple.
The writers of the movie did a very good job explaining why Sonic is there and who he was as a character. Like, not to get spoilerly, but I'll like try to give you a little insight that
Okay.
the rings are important because the rings are magical portals essentially to go to dimensions.
Right.
So the rings are what Sonic uses to travel from his original home world to Earth. So like when you see the backstory, you see Sonic in like the original like style of like what a Sonic world would look like with loop-de-loops and
Oh,
stuff
cute.
everywhere.
Okay.
And then he uses the portal to travel because he's trying to escape people trying to take his power, which is making him like super fast.
Right.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
I think they did a really good job kind of extrapolating a story from nothing.
Mhm.
Since Sonic doesn't really have a story, they took the elements of Sonic and created a story around those elements. And they just made it really fun and worked well with the source material. I personally really enjoyed it, but I'm also not a massive Sonic fan. So I
Yeah.
wasn't super judgy. I wasn't super critical. I just sat back and went, wow.
Yeah. I think those are the best
mean.
kind of game or kind of video experiences when you just go into a movie and you haven't got any expectations. So now with movies, I prefer not to even see a trailer. I prefer not to see anything like, especially trailers nowadays, because I feel like they're revealing so much.
Too much.
And
They
I'm like,
show way
please
too much.
stop. Like,
You know
I
the
just,
whole movie
like,
by the time you finish the trailer.
Spoiling the entire plot of the film. Yeah, I don't know what they're thinking. And it's like the people who make the movie have no control over what's shown in the
Trailers.
trailer,
marketing,
which is ridiculous to me.
I just think like completely, because you could be like, okay, well, just don't show this thing like that has to be kind of secret, and then they're like teasing it but like over and over again in your face with media, and they just show you the whole film, and I was like, so now I just don't bother. I don't look at reviews. I don't look at anything. I want to go in with a blank slate so that I can make my own opinion first, and then I'll be like, oh, I agree, so now I'm gonna go look at all the opinions and views and interviews or whatever and be like, okay, now I can formulate an opinion about this piece. But we could probably talk about movies forever.
I love
do a
movies.
whole new podcast.
I love movies.
Which is now an extension of her show.
Yeah, which is exactly. We've turned into the What Else show without realizing it. We're just missing Robert.
I love movies. Yeah, I fucking love movies, guys.
Yeah.
Like, I will go to a theater and sit through
Hard F-bomb.
the shittiest movie ever just because it's going to a movie. Like, I will watch some awful movies just to go to a movie because I love going to movies.
Same. And I'm this kind of person that if I'm going to the
experience.
movie or if I'm sitting down to watch a movie and it is shit, even 10 minutes in, it's awful, I cannot stop watching this movie.
Right.
I
You're
have
committed.
to watch.
Like,
I have to watch it to the end now. It could get good.
Gotta finish it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't ever, but I will. I will watch it to the end just to prove myself.
Because you hold out hope that it's gonna go up from here.
Every second.
Things are gonna get better. And
Every
like,
second.
I
Nope.
can say a
Please
movie
get better.
that I think Pagan might agree. Like when I first started watching it, I was really confused. It was an hour and a half before I thought it got good, and that was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh, interesting.
Very
Have you
Because
seen
that's
this
one of
movie?
my favorite.
Oh my god.
Okay, the first hour and a half
Favorite.
makes
Favorites.
no sense if you don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
It's like,
You were.
why are these two guys doing these things? Like, what am I seeing? Like, the scenes are so sporadic,
Yeah.
and it's so like, here's Leonardo DiCaprio on set being a pissed off actor, and here's Brad Pitt being Brad Pitt, and then back to Leo, back to Brad, back to Leo.
And the timeline
Just
jumps
hanging out
around,
together.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like, now I'll be honest, I went into that movie not knowing what it was about.
Ah.
I had no idea what that movie was about going into it.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until the end that it was like, oh, wait, this has something to do with Charlie Manson and that actress that got murdered. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I see. But also that last half hour of the movie was bananas. And I was
So
like,
I know, it was bonkers. It was so totally bonkers.
So
yeah.
good. I cannot even stress to you, right? I was in it
Yeah.
from the first 5
so
minutes.
good.
I can't tell you. I was
Oh,
like, I'm in it.
God.
Leonardo's
It
in
was
this,
so good.
and like it's going really well, and it's Quentin Tarantino at just his finest. And I'm
Don't
like,
get me
this
wrong,
is
like
so great.
the writing and the performances were amazing,
Right.
but I had no idea what the hell was happening.
I just felt like, I mean, I loosely knew what it was about, and then occasionally you'd get flashes of Margot Robbie as Sharon Tate, and very little dialogue, just a presence in the movie of this like light and energy and loveliness. And I was just sitting throughout this whole movie being like, I'm gonna be heartbroken at the end of this movie.
That's how I felt.
Like I'm going to be fucking
'Cause I
heartbroken at
was
the end of
like,
this movie. And
oh
like,
God,
if
I
anybody
know
has
exactly
not
where
seen
this
it,
is
if never not seen it, turn off the podcast now. Thank you for coming. Thank you for listening. Follow us on Facebook.
Spoilers.
But like, turn off the podcast right now because there will be spoilers. But I'll try and keep it as loosely non-spoiler based as much. Spoiler. Turn the fuck off. But the last like 20 minutes of the film where they're driving up the alley and everything, and then they get stopped by Leonardo, and I was like, God, where is this going? And I was like, is this the story of just like how the neighbor saw the events? And then it just turned into, what if this actually never happened, and what if they got the wrong house? And I was like, yes, this is wonderful. Oh my God, yes, this is so, I was so expecting heartbreak.
Dan's like, no.
I swear to God, I was like, for the whole film, I was so engrossed, and I was like, this is all going to end up so horribly wrong, and my heart is going to be broken, and my heart still was broken at the end, because I was like, shit, isn't that so fucking sad that isn't what happened? Like, I was like, just that sucks. Like that just sucks. That last 20, 30 minutes was just a piece of genius. I loved it. Loved it.
Not to mention, like, the most supreme level of intense violence you've ever seen in a Quentin Tarantino movie, all like packed into 20 minutes.
Yeah.
God, that was amazing.
And I love that his character was completely off his fucking head doing it. Like completely wasted. And it was just a funny
I kept
thing.
thinking Brad Pitt was gonna die. I'm like, he can't die. He can't die. He's too cool of a character. And then he just like beat the shit out of all of those guys.
Yeah.
And then his dog was like ripping that chick's face off.
Oh. That film
is like shocking.
So perfect.
Oh my God.
Love
it. It's so violent.
She's like, and then Leo lights her on fire.
Oh my God. So
Anywho.
crazy.
So good. So good.
Yeah.
We could talk about that all night. Honestly, I could. I would
just
delve
that
into
one
that.
movie, we could just rip
apart every single
talk
scene.
about that for hours.
I'm happy to do it. Hit me up. But we are
have us
gonna
guest on your show and talk about.
Yeah.
You know, I think we need to do that.
100%.
I think we need to do that.
Yes.
like a conglomeration.
Yeah, conglomeration.
Yes.
What a good word.
We'll have a crossover.
And do a
The
collab.
Some synergy.
Podcast.
Collab.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That'd be so cool.
A collab. We could collab.
We are going to wrap it up on that note. But if anyone
That's a
is
good
looking
note.
to, it is. If anyone is looking to follow your show or your socials or anything that you'd like to promote, Bethany, now is the time to do it. Where can we follow you or find you?
We are on YouTube, The What Else Show. We are on Twitter at What Else Show. You can also send us an email. Gmail is our platform. Robert manages the Gmail. You know what? Forget emailing. Just like
Just
and
tweet
subscribe
you. Yeah.
and just tweet at us at What Else Show. I know
Put
the
it
Twitter.
in the comments. Yeah.
It's at What Else Show.
You can pretend to know it, send it to me later, and I'll edit it in.
Oh, okay. So Gmail, it's thewhatelseshow@gmail.com.
Cool.
And then I'll look it up for real. When it really is.
We'll find out. If it's wrong,
And if you're
we'll
wrong, I'll
flash it
just
up on the
cut
screen.
you.
Yeah. We'll
Yes,
cut you out.
just
It's fine.
I'm so used to being on the cutting room floor
no,
because
that's
I
awful.
just
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that's great. So you're on Twitter and YouTube at the moment, and that's probably the best platforms to find you guys at the What Else Show.
Yes. And I am also personally on Twitter. It's at Second Breakfast. It's at 2ND Breakfast. That's my Twitter handle. If you want to send me any hate mail
Second breakfast.
whatever. Second Breakfast.
That's all I found out.
Argue.
That's all I thought about when I saw your Twitter name, and I was like, Second Breakfast. Yes,
because
go
I
about
love
Second
Hobbits.
Breakfast. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure he knows about Second Breakfast. Like, oh, the look of like despair on his face is like. Dan, where can we find you?
Oh, well, you can find me on most platforms as Dark Evil Vash. That goes for Xbox, PlayStation, Mixer, YouTube, and Twitch whenever I do stream. But if you want to follow me on Twitter, I am Stark Evash. That is StarkyVash. Should be doing some streamings, usuals. Keep forcing Brandy to play zombie games and make her hate me. And you just listen to Brandy say, I fucking hate you repeatedly throughout the stream. I recently got her to play the beginning of Resident Evil 2 Remake, and whew, I was laughing the whole time. I could not stop laughing.
See that? I'm gonna have to go back and watch it on your Twitch because
it was very, very brief. We did a quick little like 40 minutes or so. She was like already like handing me the controller, like I'm sweating, like the controller's gonna slip out of my hands. I can't do this.
That'd be me. That would be me 100%.
She didn't trust anything in the game. She thought everything was gonna like attack her or fight her or kill her or something.
Yeah, that's the reasonable response to that game. I don't see how that's unreasonable. That's completely
very
logical
beginning of the
response.
game.
For sure.
He walked up to the first door and she was like, "Can I just not?" I'm like, "You can, but the game's not gonna go anywhere."
Yeah.
She's like, "That's fine."
I've done that. I've done that in games where I'd be like, if I just need to do this thing. In Resident Evil, in fact, I just need to go through this door and progress the game, and I just cannot do it. Because I did it once, and it's a disaster, and now I can't do it again. And I was like, that's it. I'm stuck in the save room. That was a great game. Take care.
Yep.
I've never played it since. That's good. That's good. You can find me on socials at Pagan_plays on Instagram, at Pagan Plays on Twitter. Sorry, at Pagan Plays on YouTube, at AppleS2 on Twitter. We can link it all in the show notes below. And at Pagan_plays on Twitch. And I stream currently every Thursdays, guaranteed. And I used to do every Tuesdays, but I had to change due to COVID and working from home. So now I need to stream every Friday or some other day in the weekend. Usually Thursdays and Fridays. So hit me up on Twitch to see more information. Just gonna shout out, thank you so much to Drew, Nolan, Troy, and PJ, Tom, Stephanie, Paul, everybody else that we haven't mentioned. The rest of the retro.
What are we gonna do with like the
the shout outs?
The replayer shout out.
The replayer shout outs, yeah, exactly. And rest of the replayer crew, retro replay crew, for all that you do, because without you, this replayer podcast would not exist. Also, Troy is still available on Cameo if anybody wants a cameo from Troy.
Yeah, and other people message us and let us know if they'd watch us do a replayer plays if we do a replayer play podcast Twitch channel. Besides Bethany, she'll watch, but
I watch.
Yeah,
I'm so there.
I'll make Pagan play scary games.
A replayer podcast Twitch channel where Dan would introduce me to all crazy shit.
Or we'll just play like Bleeding Edge or Overwatch together.
Or we could just stream normal games that are not scary. That's also fine.
Normal, non-scary.
I like that idea better. That idea is pretty fun.
Sit here on the podcast and ask for the guys to play scary games all the time.
Yeah, comment, tweet us, whatever you do. Let us know. You can leave us a voice message and let us know if you want. It's on the Replayer Podcast, Anchor FM, Anchor.fm. We will link that down below if you do want to say it, and we'll play it on the show. We hope you've enjoyed our podcast, and if you'd like to hear more from us, go ahead, like it, subscribe, and provide comments, rate, and review whatever channel you're listening to or watching this on. If it's YouTube, hit the like button. If you have any suggestions or questions, please feel free to pop us an email at thereplayerpodcast@gmail.com. Also, you can find us on Facebook. Yay! And we upload these videos every Wednesday because Dan does all the editing and he'll upload them on Wednesdays. And he works super hard to do it. So thank you, Dan. And thank you so much, Bethany, for joining us today.
Thank you guys
Bethany,
for having me on.
It was a super pleasure.
Yes.
It's fantastic getting to know you. Hit us up for that collab.
Yes.
Yeah.
we would love to have you back on sometimes. We'll do like some movie episodes or something like that if you want to. Like we'll do special episodes for you.
Yeah.
It's cool.
I'm up for whatever. So yeah.
Yay! Don't say that here. That's it. We listen to Uncle Noli for a lot, so don't say that shit here. Like his name.
You already made the threesome reference.
Oh, that's true.
Oh dear.
Oh God.
Dial it back.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us. And that's game over, folks. Bye.